Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul Reed and I'm a professional photographer. Yes, I did buy the Leica Q3 Monochrom and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on this today. This isn't going to be a full review, but I have shot quite a bit with it over the last few days, mainly portraits. So the reason why it's not a full review is because I believe that I need to be using this for a bit longer. I need to be using it on the streets more, and I really need to put it through its paces more, see what it's like at those super high ISOs in real situations rather than just tests. The reviews that I've seen, people have just had them for like a couple of hours from Leica and had to send them back, or a couple of days, and I don't think that you can review something like this like that. So I will have a review coming out in maybe before Christmas anyway, but in the meantime I know that there's some questions that I had that I just wanted it immediately answered, and today I'm going to tell you a few things about the Q3 Monochrom, especially coming from the Q2 Monochrom. Before I do that, you're going to notice that now whenever you go to my YouTube channel, there is a join button as well as a subscribe button. So the join button is to join the membership channel, and on that membership channel it's not the same as this. So nothing changes here for the normal YouTube subscribers. You'll always get this quality of content lit with mic'd up and all the rest of it, things that I have to take time to edit, with plenty of images and things in there showing you. What the membership channel is real kind of raw footage, raw videos that are sometimes just taken with my phone, things when I'm out and about, tutorials where I've just recorded the screen. And yeah, there's a lot of knowledge there that I'm passing on, but it's really unpolished content, and it's stuff that is maybe longer sometimes as well than the videos here. I can't put those videos onto this channel simply because the comments that I would get of people that watch these videos, it would be, oh, the sound quality is not the best on this one, and it would just be, they would just be ripped apart. The membership channel is like this safe space, a community where I can put those real kind of raw videos out there, and people will just absorb all that information and not worry too much about how the videos have been done. So look, you as subscribers of this channel, I really appreciate you, and I will always appreciate, and these videos that I'm producing now, you're always going to get content like this. That membership channel, it really is for the diehards, for the people that are just thirsty for more. So by all means join it, but if you don't want to and you just want to carry on enjoying these episodes the way that they've always been, then that's fantastic too. First thing that we need to get out of the way with this is the autofocus. So the autofocus on the Q2 Monochrom was pretty bad. It did the trick. I mean, there was no face and eye detect that worked really. It worked sometimes, but rarely. You had to get pretty close to get the face and eye detect to work. So I'm very much on the Q2 Monochrom would use either spot focus or field focus. I would, if I was doing a portrait, I'd focus on the eye, recompose and press the button the rest of the way down, and that's how I would use the focusing on that. On the Q3 Monochrom, there is noticeably much better face, eye detect, object detect, and all of that sort of stuff. It is like, it's really usable, and I'm not saying it's perfect because yeah, there is no phase detecting here with it being a monochrome sensor, but what I will say is that it is streets ahead of the autofocus on the Q2 Monochrom, if that's the sort of way. So whenever I was shooting portraits, and I'm going to show you a bunch of portraits that I took, I put the face and eye detect on, and I would say 99% of the time that face and eye detect just worked great, and I could put that right out of my mind. Let's talk about the image quality on this camera. Now, obviously it's amazing, but how much better is it than the Q2 Monochrome? Is there this real noticeable difference in the image quality? This is a 60 megapixel sensor as opposed to the 47 on the Q2 Monochrome, but is that really that noticeable? And I would say not really so far. What you've got to remember is the photos that I've been taking have been kind of low ISO shots because they've been portrait. I've been shooting them at 1.7 on the aperture, which means the ISO comes right down. So looking at the images side by side from the Q2 Monochrome and the Q3 Monochrome, the image quality is pretty much the same. Obviously there's more megapixels there. One thing that this camera has got that the Q2 Monochrome hasn't got is that where you can shoot either 18 megapixels, I think it's 30 megapixels, or 60 megapixels as raw files. So I haven't tested that out yet, but I'll let you know if there's any difference in those files, if like noise gets better or that sort of thing. But as far as image quality is concerned, for me, I guess you would know more if you were enlarging something, something huge. Maybe you would start to see it there, but on my computer screen, it's, the image quality is so similar. In fact, even editing the files, so like I'm so used to editing those Q2 Monochrome files that editing the Q3 Monochrome files, it just feels like they're the same. Like it's the same experience. You get those really flat monochrome images, really grey, and you have to add that punch into them. It's the same with the Q3 Monochrome as it was with the Q2 Monochrome. We now have this flippy screen, and some people really want a flippy screen. I am not that bothered. There was so many times where, and you'll see some of these people that I was taking portraits of were, quite tall, and I kept forgetting that I could flip the screen that way and put the camera higher up so that I could get onto eye level. I kept forgetting to use it, and I guess that will come in handy for me because that happens quite a bit. The angle that I like to take on portraits isn't from down below, and if somebody's really tall, then sometimes I don't want to be shooting up people's noses. So sometimes, being able to put the camera up higher, I think that's more what I would use this flip screen for, just angling it just like that, just so that I can get a little bit of height. To be fair, I'm not really into using LCD screens for actually composing stuff. I love a viewfinder, so I use the viewfinder most of the time, but now and again I thought, look, just to put this through the paces, I wanted to just try that screen out, and like I say, I'm not that fussed about it, but maybe I'll find it handy. Battery life. I was using a Q3 battery in my Q2 Monochrome, and that battery would last basically all day, even doing street. This battery, obviously it's a Q3 battery in the Q3 Monochrome, and it lasted most of the day. Heavy shooting, portraits, it would last like for the entirety of the whole portrait shoot, and lots of portrait shoots, just by the nature it's less power hungry than say going out on the streets and having this screen on all day. So I didn't put any power saving or anything like that, but it ran out of battery. I think it was about 3/4 of the way through the day when I was shooting some street. So luckily I did have a spare battery. If you get one of these, I would at least get one spare battery. For me, I always like to have 2 spare batteries. I always did for the Q2 Monochrom. If you're thinking of moving from the Q2 Monochrom to the Q3 Monochrom, you are going to get a very similar experience. Look, all of the Qs are great. I've got a video and I'll put a card on that you can click on at the end just to see what is the best Q for you. But all of the Qs are great because they all share the same amazing fixed lenses. All the 28mm ones are fantastic, and even the 43, that's amazing as well. So fantastic lenses on them all. They're all great. Whether or not it's worth it for you to upgrade from a Q2 monochrome to a Q3 monochrome really depends on how much that flippy screen really means to you, how much more you're going to use the autofocus, the eye and face detect. If you're going to use that a lot more, and that's going to be like take away like a real headache for you, then yeah, those things would be worth the upgrade. As for image quality, like I say, it's the same lens. The sensor was incredible on the Q2 monochrome. So for image quality, yes, it's bound to be better, but when I look at them, I just can't tell the difference. If you're new to the Q system and you really have been craving a monochrome only camera, that you get it, you understand why it's important to be focused on monochrome, to have a camera that only shoots in monochrome. If you understand all of that and you want the best that you can get, then yeah, this is the way to go. I'm going to be doing a full review of the Q3 Monochrome before Christmas. Talking of Christmas, you've not got long left really to get the Monochrome Madness Handbook if you are wanting this for a gift for somebody for Christmas or a gift to yourself. There's loads and loads of inspirational images there for anybody that's into monochrome photography. There's street photography, street portraits, and loads of hints and tips and information, lots of knowledge in there for you to absorb, and it's just a great size of a book to carry everywhere. Thanks everybody again for watching today, and I really do appreciate everybody that watches this channel. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed. Don't forget to like, comment, and all that sort of thing. I'll see you next time.